I ended 2024 with 9 planners and journals, but then I moved over to 9 planners and journals in 2025. Hi, I'm Corolla. On Instagram, I'm @FromCorolla. Join me in this video where we talk about planners and journals and how January brings its own surprise. I'll share with you how I use my planners and journals with a walkthrough and what's been working for me for the past couple weeks. So before we get into my 2025 planner and journal update, I just want to do a quick update on how I ended my 2024 and what books made it with me to the end. So basically, I had my 5-year journals. So I have the Hobonichi A5 5-year and the A6. And I completed my first year in this book, which is amazing. And it is my archive, which I will go into more detail when I do my 2025 update. And I finished my 3rd year in the A6 5-year journal. So 5-year journals are still going strong. Yay, that's amazing. And then I also had these books. So as for planners, I used a plotter in Bible size, and I used the A6 Hon from Hobonichi as a daily planner. This sort of, throughout the year, it changed in terms of its functionality, and I'm totally fine with that. At some point, I sort of set it aside and I wasn't using it. And then I picked it up again, and by the end of the year, I was using it as a daily planner. And it was a great supplement to my plotter, which was more of a weekly overview of tasks and schedules. And so these two worked really well hand in hand to keep me organized. And then I also had a memory keeper, which was the Hobonichi Weeks. And basically, this was just daily highlights and events that happened. And I would use this as a reference for my Hobonichi A5 5-year archive. And so I ended the year with this, and that was great. And then I also used the Sterling Ink N1, and this was a sort of creative memory keeper. And I used stickering in the weekly layout. And it was just a creative way for me to memory keep. And so this and the weeks worked hand in hand, which was really fun. Then I also had a traveler's notebook insert, and it's just a blank insert. I use this for Happy Mail and ephemera. And as you can see, it's sort of chunky because I did put in postcards and things that I got in the mail. But this insert handled it really, really well, and it did last me for the full year. So I really enjoyed having this. In terms of notebooks, I used a Hobonichi A5 and an A6. The A5, I actually used other notebooks after this because I did fill this up. But this was for stream of consciousness journaling. Basically, in the morning or at night, I would come to this and just write down all my thoughts unfiltered, and that would keep me clear-headed in terms of letting ideas come through and not having to worry about just things, going around and around in my head. So I really enjoyed doing this. It was very, very helpful for me. And I used the A6 notebook for inky notes. So it's kind of my ink journal, and I just had, I would swatch inks that I got and also just take notes on inks that I really enjoyed or inks that I wanted to ink up in my fountain pens. And so that was kind of a notebook that I used on the regular just to organize my thoughts about fountain pens. So that's kind of a quick overview of the books I ended 2024 with, 9 in total, and my plan was to downsize to about 7 books. And so let's get into an update of where I ended up with my 2025 planners and journals. So let's get into my 2025 planner and journal update. If you watched my last video where I talked about the books that I was planning on using for 2025, these are the books that I initially planned. So the way I organize my planners and journals and my lineup is basically in two categories. One is functional, and the second category is creative. So my functional books are meant to keep me organized, and it's meant to keep me present in the moment, on top of my tasks, and also very mindful about the time that I'm spending. My creative lineup or books is more meant to tap the creative side of me. So because I am creative and artsy and I love visuals and using stickers and washi and all sorts of accessories, the books that fall into my creative category are add-ons. They are meant to keep me excited about my planner and journal lineup, and they're meant to keep me engaged with my planners and journals so that I will keep using them, and I will keep using, and be happy with my lineup. And finding joy in my lineup is what keeps me coming back to planners and journals year over year and using them. So that being said, my first category of books being functional, these are the planners and journals that fall into them. Well, technically it's one planner because I only really need one personal planner. And this is the Plotter A5. And it's actually quite slim in terms of how many papers I have in here. It's very flexible, which is why I love this plotter system so much. And the way I use it is, I have monthly pages in here, I have weekly pages in here, and I have a running task list of, things that I need to get done. So the way I've set it up is in the intro, I have my vision board, just visual cues that I like looking at, and it keeps me sort of grounded in my year. And then this is a work in progress, basically just adding things that I want to look at and also tap into creatively. Then I have some pages that are just goals and chores and things like that. This is basically what my weekly layout looks like. I have the school schedule highlighted here every day. So if the kids are off school, then I don't have it highlighted. And then I know right away to sort of plan that day with them. So this is my basic weekly layout, and it works for me, and it keeps me, I can look at it in a glance and see what I need to get done for the week. What I also add in is this lined page. So I fold it in half, and that way I can see, the schedule on one side, and I can see any notes that I have on this side. And it's really easy to update week over week. So I just, start a new week on the other side, and that way I can use one of these pages for about 4 weeks, unless I have, a long running to-do list. And then I have social media plans and things like that, projects in the back. And then I also have this Hobonichi notebook, and I use this for, or I'm going to be using it for social media platform highlights, schedules for my social content, things like that. So I've set it up. I'm kind of using it as a monthly highlight book for now, and I plan on adding in, my goals and things like that. So this plotter is basically my overarching planner. Everything is in here. It's a catch-all. It stays on my desk, but I can, carry it around because it is quite portable. I don't have a lot of extra paper in here that I don't need. And this, acts as my planner to plan everything. The second book I have in my functional category is the Hobonichi Weeks. This is my memory keeper. So this sits on my desk, or if I travel, then I carry this with me on my travels. and I basically write in it every day, just highlights of the day as they happen. So it's kind of a running list of things that are happening in that day. And so in the monthly, I do a lot of tracking. So it'll be like fitness, workouts, things like that. Step counts, stuff um, that I want to track. And then in the weekly, this is basically how I use it. So with stickers, bullet point sort of, things that are going on during the day. And this is so that I don't forget, just like little moments that happen, little highlights that happen, because at the end of the day, I'm tired and I don't want to reflect on a full day of things that, happened. So, and what I do with this information is I then, at the end of the day or every couple of days, I go into my Hobonichi 5-year and A5. This is my second year in this book. And what I basically do is it's an archive of events. So I literally just write out things that have happened in that day. I don't include personal thoughts in here. So it's not really like a reflection. It's more so just highlights and basically a reference of events that happened in my with my family. So the point of this book is that one day my kids can look back on this and see, the things that we did growing up, basically, as they grow up. The second year is when it starts getting fun because then I can actually see what happened in the prior year the same day, and just kind of it's interesting to sort of compare the things that we did a year ago. The fourth book in my functional lineup is, I call it my stream of consciousness journal. I basically just do stream of consciousness writing, usually in the morning with a cup of coffee. And it's just kind of like a brain dump. I just write any thoughts that come to mind without filter. And it's meant to quiet down my mind a little bit and to help ideas come through. So instead of worrying constantly about things, I just put it down on paper, let it go, and usually what happens is ideas start to come through. So it's just like a bunch of words that I don't really read back. And on the left-hand side, what I do is I just kind of write down like ideas and things like that. So it's sort of like a brain dump, memory dump, or a mind map of sorts too. So sometimes I kind of do like planning in here. As I'm writing stream of consciousness, a lot of things come through. And I've been doing this for a couple of years now, maybe 3 years. And I've been finding that it's really, really helpful in just streamlining some of those thoughts that are churning around in my mind that don't need to be there. So I just put them down on paper, and it helps to make some space for other thoughts to come through that might be more helpful for my day. So these are the 4 books that are in my functional lineup or category. 1 planner and basically 3 memory keepers, journals, archives. And if I were to only have the essential books that I need to get through my day or year, these are the 4 books I would turn to. And I don't necessarily have to keep up with them on a daily basis. If I'm too busy to do stream of consciousness writing, that's okay. If I'm too busy to update the archive, I can always do it every few days, as long as I have the memory keeper updated as a reference guide in terms of what happened, and I have my planner to remind me of the tasks and schedules that I have. Moving on to my second category, which is creative books. This taps into my creative side. Because I'm a creative person, I like to have visuals, and I like to use stickers and washi tape to decorate my memories and document life's highlights. And so these books are add-ons that spark creativity and joy in planning and journaling for me. And so I have Hobonichi A6 5-year, This is my 4th year in this book, and I initially started this book as a gratitude practice, and it has now grown a little bit into more of a little joys book. I got that phrase from Morgan Harper Nichols, an artist, a great writer, and she terms little joys as finding those little moments in our day that makes us smile, that brings joy to our hearts, and writing them down to remember them and to acknowledge that we have these little joys that may not amount to big, happy moments, but they make us smile and they all add up to a happy life. So that's how I use this book now for little joys. And I practice drawing intuitive flowers by using a glass tip pen and fountain pen ink. And I also use a fountain pen to write down each daily joys. The second book in my creative lineup is a Sterling Ink N2, and this is the week size from Sterling Ink. I wanted to get this just to document my hobbies, so to use it as a hobbies journal. And how I use it is I track the books that I'm reading, for like whether it's audiobook or physical books. And I just, when I start a book, when I finish a book, and then just a running list of the books that I'm reading. So that's how I use the quarterly pages in this book. And the monthly pages, I don't pay attention to the days of the month. But what I just kind of do is note down the fountain pens that I've inked up for that month. So it's kind of like a currently inked running list, as well as any new fountain pens or inks that I have acquired in that month. And so that just kind of keeps track of anything that I've inked and anything that I've added to my collection. And then in the weekly pages, I just include notes of, when I start or finish a book, also notes on, anything else that's like a point of interest for me. So quotes that I like, or tarot cards that I've pulled. And yeah, or things that I've watched, shows that I've watched, podcasts I've listened to, anything that sort of stands out in my week. In the back notes pages, I take notes on I do like a writing sample for when I ink a fountain pen. And then I also do notes on books that I've read. So thoughts around the book and any recommendations around it. And the third book in my creative lineup is a Traveler's Notebook in the standard size. This is the olive cover. And what I have in here is a blank insert for happy mail or collaging. And this is sort of my collage journal, kind of like an overflow journal. So if I have ephemera or postcards or stickers, things like that, that sort of add bulk to a regular journal, then I throw it into this insert. And this probably will last me for the year. And it captures memories that are, in happy mail and stuff like that. So it's kind of fun. And then I have this canvas pocket insert, and that just holds like stickers and washi tape and things like that. Then I have a sticker release book in the back, and this has mostly stickers from the Coffee Monsters Co. because I use these stickers in my memory keeping weeks. And so I have this on my desk, and anytime I just want to add some stickers to my memories or highlights, I can go into this sticker release book, which has all the stickers that I kind of use. So those are the 3 books in my creative category. And so all in all, I had 7 books that I started this year with. And like I mentioned, a couple of the books are continuations. So like the 5-year, this is my 4th year in the A6. This is my 2nd year in the A5 archive. And so they're kind of continuations year over year. 7 books in total, which I was very comfortable with. And I also should mention, honorary mention to this Hobonichi Weeks. which I use as a family planner. So I think I mentioned this in my last video. This sort of sits out on the kitchen table, and it holds the schedules and notes that pertain to my family. And so any notes, any to-dos, any sort of reminders that pertain to my family, and my husband can refer to this instead of, looking through my personal planner. He can look at this and see the schedules and things that are upcoming. And so this is, out and open. Anyone can sort of look at this within the family. So that's an honorary mention because I literally just updated it for my family. Then I added 2 more books into my lineup, and that happened sort of on a whim because I got the Hobonichi Hon in A6. This is actually from 2024, but it was on sale for $12 Canadian, which is even less in USD. And because I love the paper, the Tomoe River paper was well behaved in 2024. If you know anything about the paper dilemma that's happening this year in the community in terms of inconsistencies within the Tomoe River paper. But the 2024, I actually used this in 2024, and I love the cover. I love the paper. There were no inconsistencies that I came across. And so when I found this on sale for so cheap that I decided I had to get it, even if I was just going to use the pages for notes and or to test my fountain pens, that would have been totally fine. But what I ended up doing with this daily planner was added to my planner lineup as sort of just a daily ongoing list of chores and little nitty-gritty things that I don't put in my plotter, because the plotter obviously is a weekly layout and there's only so much space that I can have in there. So in the plotter, where I have this weekly layout and just an overview of what I need to get done for the week, in the Hobonichi, in the Hobonichi, I have a more granular look at my day. And so I just kind of jot down little tasks and chores, things that I just have to remember to do during that day. Not necessarily needing to put it in my planner because there's so nitty-gritty stuff, but I like having it just written down, so it gives me an extra thing to cross off as, something I did during that day, but also it just makes me not worry that I'm going to forget. I also got this weekly supplement from Hobonichi. Right now I'm using it as just a social tracker, so any social posts that I want to get out there, I schedule in here. And I just use a pencil so I can erase it and reschedule things if I want to. And I don't necessarily need to refer to this all the time, but it kind of just keeps me organized in my mind about all the different things that I have going on social platforms. The second book that I added to my never-ending lineup is the Take a Note A5. And I have been wanting to try a Take a Note planner for quite some time, for a couple of years at least, but I always I went back to Hobonichi, or I found, other planners to use for my needs. And so I never really needed to get a Take a Note. But then a local store had it, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to give it a go. So I have basically just been writing down goals and intentions in the morning. So basically what I plan on doing that day, what I want to accomplish, any thoughts going into the day. So that's kind of in the morning. And then in the afternoon, I come back and I kind of reflect on the day in terms of what I did accomplish, how I felt at the end of the day, and how my day went. And that's kind of meant to be just a high level thoughts journal, and sort of a spillover from sort of a spillover from my Hobonichi Weeks. So while in this book, I just jot down highlights and key events that happened in the day because it's meant to be more of a reference book. This is more based on thoughts and my goals for the day. I just kind of want to see how I feel about the layout of this book, whether or not it's something I want to use moving forward. It's more a curiosity thing. So it is for fun. I don't necessarily need this book, but I do really like it and I like the paper. So that's something I'm playing with, and I'll report back on whether or not I continue using this book. There is zero pressure that I'm putting on myself to use it. It is definitely just an experiment. So that's it for my January update of my planners and journal lineup. Let me know in the comments what you're using and whether or not your lineup has changed in January. Remember, it's just January, so whether or not you have yet to start, or if you have started and you've decided that your lineup does not work for you and you're starting again with something else, it's totally fine. Remember, these books are meant to work for you, so they are meant to keep you mindful and present in the moment and organized and productive. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Corolla on Instagram. I'm at From Corolla. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.